guys, shoot, it's me, the masked girl.
Bringing you the scariest horror content since the beginning of time. If your heart is weak and you can't handle fear, don't watch this video. But if you're a true horror lover, hit that subscribe button and stay with me.
Hey y'all, this is Jake, and I'm about to share a story that went down 12 years ago when I was 24. I was living in a small town outside Austin, Texas. Think dusted roads, wide open spaces, kind of like Kyle, but quieter. Back then, life was rough. My dad passed away out of nowhere. Dude was healthy as a horse, then bam, gone. Left me and my mom to fend for ourselves in our little house. Dad was the guy who handled everything. Groceries, driving mom around, you name it. Now it was all on me. I wasn't exactly Mr. Responsible, but I had to step up. Dad left behind this beat-up Chevy pickup, so I figured I'd use it to make some cash. Started driving folks around like a makeshift Uber for construction workers or anyone who needed a ride. First few days, not bad. I was pulling in enough to cover bills and keep the fridge stocked. But on day 4, something happened that flipped my whole world upside down. I was cruising around town looking for passengers when I spotted this dude standing on the side of the road, mid-20s, sharp clothes, looking like he just stepped out of a J. Crew catalog. I pulled over and asked if he needed a lift. He was chill, said his name was Ethan and he needed to get to Austin. "If you're free, man, I'll pay whatever you want," he said, all confident. Cha-ching, a trip to Austin meant at least a couple $100. We agreed on a price and Ethan hopped in. Said he worked in the city and came back to visit his family in our town every weekend. Cool guy, real talkative. We chatted about his job, his family, the usual. Dropped him off in Austin after a couple hours, and since I didn't want to drive back empty, I decided to look for another fare. I pulled into this big gas station just outside Austin, a spot where travelers always hang out. Parked my truck, stood by the tailgate, and started hollering, "Yo, anyone headed to Kyle? I'm going that way!" Kept at it from like 7 p.m. to 9:30 p.m., but nobody bit. Place was getting quiet, and I was bummed. Figured I'd call it a night. Right as I climbed into the truck, I heard someone yell, "Hey, man! Yo, hold up!" I hopped out, looked around. Nothing. Nobody. Thought I was hearing things, maybe the wind or the noise from the station. Shook it off and got back in. But then, tap, 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 someone's knocking on the back door. I turn around, and there's this old guy with a white beard, looking all wise and intense, standing with a woman in a black dress who's got her face covered, and a teenage girl, maybe 17 or 18, next to them. I got out and asked the old dude, "Hey, sir, what's up?" He said he heard me calling for passengers to Kyle and asked if I could take him, his wife, and his daughter to a spot near there. Then he hit me with, "Look, I'm gonna be straight with you. I don't got any cash right now." Normally, I'd pass, but the guy seemed legit, and I felt bad, so I told him to hop in. Old man sat up front, wife and daughter in the back. We hit the road, but right away, something fell off. My vision got all blurry, like I was driving through fog. But the sky was clear. The gas station, which was packed just minutes ago, looked straight up abandoned, like something out of a zombie flick.
I started side-eyeing the old man. Where'd these people even come from? I'd been at that station for hours and didn't see them once. Tried making small talk to shake the weird vibe, but the old guy was giving me one-word answers like he didn't want to talk. I glanced in the rearview mirror and the girl in the back looked scared, like she was about to cry. My gut was screaming something wasn't right. Was she really their daughter? I kept my mouth shut and focused on the road. But when we got close to Buddha, the old man told me to head east instead of straight to Kyle. I was like, "Huh? You said your place was near Kyle." He just doubled down, all calm but firm. "Go east. Our house is out there." I didn't like it, but I turned anyway. We ended up leaving Buddha behind, driving into this empty stretch of desert, nothing but sand and a few scattered trailer homes. I figured maybe they lived in one of those. But then the old man told me to veer off the road, straight into the freaking desert, like the middle of nowhere Texas style. I was spooked. That area is bad news. People get lost out there and don't come back. I tried to reason with him. Yo, you sure you live out here? This is just sand, man. He just said, don't worry, the house is right up ahead. I wanted to say no, tell him to get out and walk, but his face, it changed. His eyebrows furrowed, his eyes got wide, and I swear the air in the truck got hot, like someone cranked the heater to max. Next thing I know, I'm driving deeper into the desert, like something's controlling my hands. Then I saw it, a small tent in the middle of nowhere. I thought, okay, that's gotta be their place. But I drove right past it. No idea why. Some worker dude out there started yelling at me, waving at me like he was warning me, but I couldn't stop. All of a sudden, the truck just stopped. The old man, his wife, and the girl got out without a word. I looked around, nothing but sand. No house, no tent, no nothing. My heart was pounding. I locked the doors, turned on all the lights, and followed my tire tracks to get the hell out of there. In the side mirror, I saw flames, huge flames, like 30 feet high, lighting up the desert. That's when I knew these weren't people. They were something else, something not human. I heard a girl's scream full of pain, and I got chills thinking that girl wasn't their daughter. I floored it, peeling out of there. Then, out of nowhere, the old man appeared in front of the truck. I slammed on the brakes and shouted, "I seek refuge in God." And poof, he was gone. I kept driving, but I felt like someone was watching me from inside the truck. Nobody was there, but the feeling wouldn't go away. Finally made it back to the main road, shaking like crazy. On my way back to Kyle, I saw a girl walking along the highway, clothes torn, burns on her skin. It was her, the same girl from the truck. I slowed down, thinking I should help, but my gut told me to keep going. I turned around to go back for her, but when I got there, she was gone, vanished. I got home late, and my mom was on the floor by the door, bleeding from her nose. I'd forgotten to pick up her meds for her chronic condition. Panicked, I rushed her to the hospital. She stabilized, but they kept her for 3 days. I got back home around 3 a.m., exhausted. As soon as I walked in, the TV in the living room was blaring. Weird, since Mom was still at the hospital, and I was alone. I checked it out, lights on, TV blasting some random channel. I was freaked, but switched it to a religious station and left all the lights on before crashing in my room. Next morning, I woke up to the smell of smoke. The TV's wires were burned, like someone torched them on purpose. I didn't tell Mom anything when I visited her. She could tell I was hiding something, but I played it off. Convinced the doctors to let her come home, and having her back made me feel a little safer. But the weird stuff didn't stop. One night, I woke up at 2:30 a.m. and saw Mom sitting on the couch, staring at the TV. Not normal for her. I sat next to her, asked what was up, but she didn't answer. Just sat there like a statue. And when I looked at her face, it wasn't Mom. It was that girl from the desert. I screamed, ran to Mom's room. She was asleep in her bed. When I dragged her back to the living room, nobody was there. Mom pressed me to spill, but I lied, said it was just a nightmare. Weeks later, I went back to driving, but I swore off trips outside Kyle. One day, I saw a family, Guy, his wife, 2 kids, standing in the blazing sun. The guy, Nate, said his last driver was a creep and ditched them. I offered to take them to a bus station, but they insisted on going to Waco for a wedding. After some back and forth, I agreed for $600. Nate seemed cool, but as we got close to Waco, he directed me to this sketchy desert road. I saw a big lit-up tent, but it looked wrong. No separate sections for guys and girls, which was weird for a wedding. I asked, "Is this the spot?" Nate just said, "Yeah, don't worry." They hopped out and vanished into the night. When I checked the back seat, I found 3 gold bracelets. Drove back to return them, but the tent was gone. No trace of them. I heard music and drums in the distance, but saw nothing. I floored it, blasting gospel music to calm my nerves. Halfway home, I hit a police checkpoint.
They were looking for a girl who went missing 3 weeks ago near that Austin gas station. I realized it might be her. Tried to tell the cops, but my tongue froze up. I couldn't speak. The cops asked me to give a ride to a couple whose driver got arrested. They got in, but I started feeling like I couldn't breathe. Glanced at the guy, he looked like Nate. He handed me a yellow-tinted water bottle. I took a sip, and it smelled foul. Stopped to wash my face, and when I looked up, they were gone. Next thing I know, I woke up in my bed the next day, no clue how I got there. Mom said some guy dropped me off claiming to be my friend. I tried to piece it together. Everything started with that old man, his wife, and that girl. Went to the police to report it, but I woke up in the middle of the desert screaming. Some campers found me, and I told them everything. We searched and found her, the girl, running through the desert, covered in burns and looking like she'd been through hell. At the hospital, her dad said she'd been messing with occult stuff, which made her a target for something evil. Turns out, the old man and his wife weren't human. They were something else, trying to hurt her and me for getting too close. Thank God she was saved, but she had a breakdown and ended up in a psych ward. I went back to my life, but I quit driving outside Kyle. I'm way more careful now. This whole thing taught me to stay away from stuff we don't understand. Hope you like the story, y'all. Say a prayer for that girl's recovery, and I'll catch you in the next creepy tale. Peace out.